to order the Board of Alderman meeting for April 21st, 2025. May I have roll call, please?
Alderman Sykes.
Here.
Alderman Miller.
Here.
Administrator Lucky.
Here.
Mayor Bailey.
Here.
Attorney Moss.
Here.
Alderman Saley.
Here.
Alderman Shelton.
Here.
Will everybody join me for the pledge of allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item we have on the agenda is the consent agenda. We have the council report, and we have the Board of Alderman minutes from April 7th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. I'll second.
May I have roll call, please?
Alderman Sykes.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Saley.
Aye.
Alderman Shelton.
Aye.
Administrator Wilkie.
All right, well, we wanted to send Mayor Cozy off with a nice award. Can we get a picture of this, please? So I'm going to present this award to Mayor Cozy. Thank you for your service to the city of St. Clair. With sincere appreciation for Mayor Cozy's years of service, thank you for your contributions to St. Clair. And personally, you're the one that hired me. So I want to thank you because this has been a fun ride for the last 6 months and it's not over with. It just changes to new people. But I want to thank you.
Thank you.
You can if you want. You can either do it before or after the verification. Your choice.
Okay, I'll wait till verification. Next, we have verification of election results. Clerk Megan Kimball.
Thank you. Okay, these are the official results from the county. For mayor, we have Cozy Bailey, 184 votes. Brad Dorr, 336. For the St. Clair Municipal Judge, we have Dan Leslie with 424 votes. The St. Clair Collector, Nancy Lyman for 428. St. Clair Alderman Ward 1, we have Serena Brune, 102 votes. Patty Shelton, 129. St. Clair Alderman Ward 2, Chris Thorpe with 218. Thank you.
I think the board, it would be appropriate to have a motion to approve it.
Make a
But in
motion.
order, they don't, it's always a formality to close it.
Yeah, right.
Makes the minutes look nice.
Make a motion to accept the election results. I'll second.
May I have roll call, please?
Alderman Sykes.
Aye.
Alderman Miller.
Aye.
Alderman Saley.
Aye.
Alderman Shelton.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to serve the last 4 years. It's been an honor and a pleasure and a blessing. I think you'll be in great hands going forward. At this time, I'm going to recess the meeting.
So now we will have the swearing in of the newly elected officials. If you guys could step down, Megan will swear you in.
I state your name.
I, Brad Gilbert,
Do solemnly swear that I will possess
do solemnly swear that I possess
all the qualifications for this office
all the qualifications for this office
as prescribed by law,
as prescribed by law,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Missouri,
and the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws of the state
the provisions of all laws of the state,
affecting cities of this class and the ordinances of the city of St. Clair, Missouri,
affecting all of St. Clair, Missouri,
and faithfully demean myself in this office.
faithfully demean myself in this office,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Nancy Lyman,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess all the qualifications for this office
that I possess all the qualifications for this office
as prescribed by law,
as prescribed by law,
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States and the state of Missouri,
of the United States and the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws of the state
the provisions of all laws of the state
affecting cities of this class,
affecting cities of this class,
and the ordinances of the city of St. Clair, Missouri,
and the ordinance of the city of St. Clair, Missouri,
and faithfully demean myself in this office.
and faithfully demean myself in this office.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. I state your name.
I, Chris Dilworth,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess all the qualifications
that I possess all the qualifications
for this office as prescribed by law,
for this office as prescribed by law,
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the
of
Constitution
the United States and state of Missouri,
of the United States and the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws of the state
the provisions of all laws of the state
affecting cities of this class,
affecting cities of this class,
and the ordinances of the city of St. Clair, Missouri,
and the ordinances of the city of St. Clair, Missouri,
and faithfully demean myself in this office.
and faithfully demean myself in this office.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. I state your name.
I, Constance Shelton,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess all the qualifications for this office
that I present all the qualifications for this office
as prescribed by law,
as prescribed by law.
that I will support the Constitution of the
That I will-
United States
Go ahead, sorry. That I will support the Constitution of the United States
and
and the
state
state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws of the state
provisions of all laws of the state
affecting cities of this class,
affecting the cities of this class,
and the ordinances of the city of St. Clair, Missouri,
and the ordinances of the city of St. Clair, Missouri,
and faithfully demean myself in this office.
and faithfully demean myself in this office.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Can I have some signings? I got my fancy pen, please.
Usually it's all, state your name when you hear a rumble. Yes. That's pretty professional. Yeah. New clerk, new map, new administrators. As I say, it's like, it goes on forever.
Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome.
I want to reopen the meetings for April 21st, 2025. May I have roll call, please?
Alderman Sykes.
Here.
Alderman Delbert.
Here.
Administrator Welty.
Here.
Mayor Dilworth.
Here.
Attorney Voss.
Here.
Alderman Salmon.
Here.
Alderman Shelton.
Here.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is the electing president of the board. Do we have any nominations?
I'll nominate Amanda Sykes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I reckon there's any other nominations before you?
Any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay. All right.
Congratulations, Amanda.
So the next item is the street resurfacing.
I'll take that, sir. So this project was bid out in early March. The bids were opened on March 27th. The city did receive 2 bids for this project. The low bidder is Jokeris Paving with a bid of $332,079. We did check the contractor's references and found no problems. This project will cover resurfacing resurfacing of portions of Bader, Burkle, Casey, Hedge, North Lay, Maupin, Murray, Nashville, Weatherford, Well, Young, Beaver, Bever, sorry, and the next one I don't even know how to pronounce. What is it? Shodo, Pasadena, Albany, and Arizona. The budget for this project was $375,000, so we are pretty significantly under budget for this. We would like to get them working as quickly as possible and get this going so that we can have this project moving forward during the spring. I do recommend approval.
Let me ask a question. Did you say Casey as well?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to introduce bill number 2025-14 for first and second reading by title only.
Second.
No,
We don't-
Oh,
Second.
I'm sorry.
You jumped the gun. You need to read that ordinance.
I apologize.
Is this the one? That's the one right there. Just read that. Mr. Mayor, you read that title twice. That whole, everything in bold.
An ordinance for the city of St. Clair authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Joker's Paving for the resurfacing of multiple streets within the city of St. Clair for an amount not to exceed $332,079. Second reading. An ordinance for the city of St. Clair authorizing the mayor to sign a contract with Joker's Paving for the resurfacing of multiple streets within the city of St. Clair for an amount not to exceed $332,079.
I move to approve bill number 2025-14 as read. A second.
It becomes ordinance.
You need a roll call vote now. Off the roll on the vote.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Sykes.
Aye.
Alderman Dole.
Aye.
Alderman Saley.
Aye.
Alderman Shelton.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Ordinance becomes ordinance number 2209. The next item is the CDBG grant bill.
Right, so this is a grant that we had already had the board's approval to do. We did get the grant, and so this is just us having the mayor sign the grant so that we can move forward with it. This grant money will help fund a paving project that will include portions of Miller, Iron Hill, Mosley, Sincox, Oak, Maple, Walnuts, Chestnuts. Total estimated cost of the project is $812,854. $500,000 of that will be funded through this grant, with the local match being the remainder, which is $312,854. This project is tentatively scheduled to begin engineering next year, and construction will happen in the summer of '27. All of the funds must be extended by the end of the year of '27. So we're in good shape. This is a good grant for us. This helps us move our repaving projects forward. All of this information, just so all of the elected officials know, will all be included in our paving assessment that we're doing. So we'll include all of this in that. But I do recommend approval.
I'd like to introduce bill number 2025-15 for first and second reading by title only.
Wait a second, we just need to read.
I confused you on that. I apologize.
An ordinance for the city of St. Clair authorizing the mayor to sign a community development block grant agreement with the Missouri Department of Economic Development in the amount of $500,000. Second reading, and an ordinance for the city of St. Clair authorizing the mayor to sign a community development block grant agreement with the Missouri Department of Economic Development in the amount of $500,000.
I'll make a motion to approve bill number 2025-13 as read.
I'll second.
I think it's 15.
2025-15.
15.
Correct.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Sykes.
Aye.
Alderman Dole.
Aye.
Alderman Saley.
Aye.
Alderman Shelton.
Aye.
So the next item is the spray park buyback bill, number 2025-16.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Real quick special thanks to Kurt for this one. He did all of the legwork here. I'm just the one reading it, but thank you, Kurt, for putting all this together for me. This happened way before my time here. Essentially, 10 years ago, the city leased the park to the IDA with the option to buy it back for $1 after the lease was paid off. This was all done at the time to fund the spray park. So here we are at the end. The city has made their final payment, and the city would like to take their option to go ahead and buy back the park for $1. I do recommend approval.
I'll introduce bill number 2025-16 for first and second reading by title only.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of St. Clair, Missouri to execute that certain document exercising the option to purchase Evergreen Spray Park from the Industrial Development Authority for the city of St. Clair, Missouri for the sum of $1 as set forth in a commercial lease with option to purchase dated March 5th, 2013. Second reading, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of St. Clair, Missouri to execute that certain document exercising the option to purchase Evergreen Spray Park from the Industrial Development Authority for the city of St. Clair, Missouri for the sum of $1 as set forth in the commercial lease with option to purchase dated March 5th, 2013.
I move to approve bill number 2025-16 as read.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Sykes.
Aye.
Alderman Bullard.
Aye.
Alderman Stoll.
Aye.
Alderman Bates.
Aye.
So Bill 2025-16 becomes ordinance number 2211. All right, so the next item on the agenda is police chief discussion.
Mayor, is that right? Do you all make some opening comments here?
Absolutely.
So I've done a little bit of research on this. I want to kind of go through this with everybody. So I believe the board would like for us to seek out whether or not this could be moved from an election to appointment. I also agree that opens up the best possible future for the city of St. Clair. I do want to make it known that I am very, very confident in the staff and the office and the police officer staff that we have. And our next police chief may very well be a member of this force right now. But I'm looking towards the future. And the future, this is not an easy job, folks. Elected officials, citizens, it's not an easy job. It's a job that takes a lot of hours, it takes a lot of experience, it takes a lot of education. And I think that we are selling ourselves short if we are only looking within the city of St. Clair. I think we should be looking everywhere to try and find the absolute best chief that we can for this city. Now, as I said, that chief may very well be in our department now. But I'm looking at what will happen 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. I've done a little bit of research and I want to share it with you real quick. So first of all, I went back 4 elections. The public has never, in the last 4 elections, the public has never even had a choice. It's always been a chief that has ran unopposed. So there has not been any real choice for police chief for quite some time because you've only had one name on the ballot. Number 2, there are only 3 cities left in the state of Missouri that still have an elected chief. All the rest of them have long since changed it to appointed. So what does that mean for the public? What does that mean for the elected body? What that means is, instead of the public electing a chief, the 4 individuals, 2 to either side of me here, which the citizens already elect, would appoint that chief based upon a resume, based upon a job interview rather than an election. And I think this gives us the best possible future for moving forward and moving our police force forward. We do have two options if the board wishes to move forward with this, and I will remind everybody, this is a discussion only today. We're not voting on anything, we are talking about it. We're talking about our options, okay? If we want to move forward with an appointment, we would have to put that on the ballot to change it from elected to appointed, and we really have two choices if we want to do that. The November election and the election next April. Both of them have different outcomes though, and it's important that everybody understand what that means. So if we put it on the ballot in November and it passes, then there is no more elected chief, and the board would immediately start accepting applications to appoint the chief. And it could be that we just appoint the person that, that we already have in that, or it could be that we appoint someone else that the board chooses. So that's the way that would work. If we do it in April, it's a little bit more complicated because in April is when the election for a chief will happen. So if we do it in April, the election or the chance to move it from elected to appointed would happen at the same time as we are trying to elect a chief of police. If we do it that way, then the elected chief would get to go through his entire term. And then after that, it would switch to appointed. Now, why is that important? That's important because elections cost money. So right now, in this county, if you, to do an election, the whole election is $48,000. That cost is split between all of the participating municipalities or whatever entity puts something on the ballot, right? So if that's split 4 ways, then you pay a fourth of the 48. If it's split 6 ways, then you pay a sixth of it. If nobody else puts anything on the election in November, we pay all of it. Now, the election in April, you're always going to have everybody because that's when everybody always, does their elected officials, and so that's always going to be, split however many ways we have municipalities. And instead, I think our bill ends up being just under $5,000 if we do it that way. But those are two very different outcomes if we want to do that. My recommendation would be that we try to do it in November. Chief is retiring, and I think that we can put some of the savings that we're going to get from his salary towards that to offset that. And I think it's worth the risk. So that's kind of the. I'm sorry I'm so long-winded, but that's kind of the first thing there. So the second thing is this. The board has a couple of choices here, and I know that Kurt is going to shake his finger at you guys in a minute and tell you what he thinks. But the board can choose to go ahead and appoint someone to fill out the rest of the term right now or at a future board meeting sometime before chief's official retirement, or you can do nothing. And if you do nothing, the assistant chief would stay in charge until we figure out whether or not we are going to get to move this over to appointed, or whether it's going to end up, or whether the people want it to stay elected. Now, those are your choices. I'm not going to sit here and make a recommendation either way. I think that you guys have already talked to Chief, and I think that Kurt's probably going to give you some more information here in a minute on that. The third thing is that the Chief has also very graciously offered to stay on as a consultant. I know that after talking to Kurt right before this meeting, that's a little bit more complicated than we thought it was, and I'll let Kurt kind of explain that. But those are your options as we have them right now, depending on what we want to do. So I think that's pretty much all I have right now. Kurt, if you want to kind of give your 2 cents on all this.
From the legal perspective, there's not a vacancy in the office yet. There's not a vacancy in the office of Chief of Police until, I think, the 15th of May is when his letter takes effect. The statute says once there is a vacancy, and that's an elected office, you know, you're not, the city administrator is not an elected office. The building inspector is not an elected office, but the chief of police is an elected officer. And the statute says the mayor shall convene a meeting to make an appointment to fill the vacancy. All the mayor can do is make an appointment, but it's advice and consent of the board that approves that. If the mayor submits a name that is not approved, then the spot remains vacant. We had this situation here several years ago where we had a vacancy in an alderman's position, and it went open for some time. I told the mayor the last time, I'll tell the mayor this time, the mayor has a duty to make an appointment. The mayor chooses to do that or not to do that, that's up to the mayor. If the mayor doesn't make an appointment and the board wants an appointment, I would tell the mayor that could be considered malfeasance in office. But if the board is not clamoring for an appointment, or if the mayor makes an appointment and nobody takes it up to vote on, then the mayor has satisfied his obligations to what the statute requires. I can't make the board, he can't make the board approve what he wants, who he suggests or not suggest. And if he doesn't make any, then it's up to the board to decide if that's acceptable or not. You all run the city, I just tell you what the statute says. The statute also says that the chief of police under current Missouri law and our ordinance has to be a resident of the city. Has to be a resident of the city. So that is another requirement, and a voter of the city. So those are the two issues on that. And as to the, I believe the office itself is established. I don't think the board can lower the pay of an officer, an elected official, during the term of their office. Just like you can't raise it, I don't think you guys could sit here tonight and say, we really don't like this mayor, so we're going to lower the salary to $1. I think you can do that when this term is over, but you can't do it during the term. Or you can't say, we don't like the chief of police, so we're going to lower the salary to $1 during the term. You can do it in the next term. But so I think saying that we are going to change the salary of the officer, it's budgeted, I think that would be problematic. So I think you guys have a lot of issues. The comment, you know, most cities, I think as chief has indicated, as the administrator has indicated, have appointed police chiefs. And they have appointed police chiefs because a lot has transpired in 40 or 50 years of the requirements to be a law enforcement official, especially any law enforcement official, but to be the head of the department. I have advocated, I think it's been on the ballot twice since I've been the city attorney, asking the voters if they wanted to have an appointed chief. And both times it did not really garner the support of the police department, and it really didn't garner the support of the community. I think it failed both times quite handily, as I recall. Nobody got out in front of it and took the lead to say we wanted to make a change. So the voters voted and said we will continue to have elected chiefs in the city of St. Clair. Chiefs and marshals are the same position under state statute. So that's my take on, I think, what the statute says. I'd be willing to answer any questions that anyone has.
So I'd love to hear comments from the board, from the mayor. I have talked to, I think, all of you individually, at least most of you individually about this. I do believe, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, that the indication I got was that we want to move towards trying to move this to appointed rather than elected. So are you guys okay with me trying to do that in November?
I really don't feel like that is the fiscally responsible thing to do. As I shared with you and during our conversation, it was not even 3 years ago that it was on the ballot and the people voted it down. And so to hold a special election to ask the people again, I just don't feel like for that amount of money, when the people have already spoken recently that they don't desire that change, I think it's a poor use of money.
Anyone else?
I'm kind of hung up on that cost factor as well, but I will go to what you said. The last time that we brought it, we lost by about 50 some odd votes, which to me was an indication that there was some interest. I personally feel like the last time that we put this before the people, we didn't have an education. There wasn't, people didn't understand. They thought appointment meant that the mayor was going to appoint someone, that it wasn't actually an employment process that they would go through, and it would be an employee rather than an elected official. There's a big difference there. And the chain of command varies just a little bit. I do have an issue with the $48,000, but I also feel that if there's no appointment made and the chief has resigned, there's enough time there to recoup some of those funds with the salary that we're not going to be paying in the chief's salary. I too am concerned whenever we put this on the ballot 3 years ago. That was my first year on the board, and I was concerned about the future and felt like at some point we would be right here discussing this very same thing. I have spoken with the chief and I've spoken with some other officers, and I think the important thing is that if the officers feel that this is the best thing that will serve their department well, that will help with retention, that will help with cohesiveness within their department, then they need to speak up and let us know that, and also let the public know that. There were very few people that really got out, as you said, in front of this and spoke for it, because I don't think anybody at that point, or not enough people, knew what it involved. So I'm really, like you, I'm looking for the future of our city and garnering the very best that we can garner. I think that our police department is amazing. I've gotten to know a lot of our police officers. I think they do an excellent job, and I think that this would be one more way that we could take it to another level. I've never felt that a job as important as a police chief should be determined by where they live. And I'll go back to when I worked for the school district. That was done away with because you need to garner your very best, and they don't always come from where you live. And it may be that that person does, just like you said. But I think we need to open up opportunities for our city.
Anyone else have any comments? I kind of got one on both sides here, so I need some more direction here.
No, I mean, I had the same kind of conversations, and I believe we're to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money, but if this is in the best interest of our city, we also have a duty to make sure that we are protecting our city. If this is the best thing, we need to go forward and do it. And if spending that money is something we need to do to make it happen for the betterment of the city or to sustain the police department, then that's something we need to do.
I don't want to spend the money either, but I have talked to different folks and different officers, and I believe, based on those conversations, that they would like for us to pursue the appointment route to bring in the very best that we can for their department.
So why don't I do this, because according to Tim Baker, if we're going to put something on the ballot in November, I have to do it by the end of August. If we're going to do something, if we're going to put something on the ballot in April, I have to do it, I believe, before the end of the year. So I've already asked him to keep me in the loop on anything else that might go on the ballot, because I know that seems to be a concern here. But that 48 turns into 24 if we have one other community get on board, and then it goes down even further if we have a third community get on board. So I'm going to monitor that very closely over the summer here and make sure that I have everything ready to turn into Tim and get it on the ballot for November. But I will keep you all in the loop on that, and we'll just kind of see where that goes over the summer as far as that's concerned. I think that Kurt made some good points on both the pay for the chief and also the appointment of the chief. So is there any other discussion we want to have right now as far as either of those two topics?
So my question is if it's not on the ballot till November and the position becomes vacant on May 15th, if a person from within is appointed, or if we do nothing, if the person is appointed then when the vote is taken, say it's in November and it passes, then is that person still in the position until the replacement is made?
I would expect that if you make an appointment, or I think it would, regardless of whether you make an appointment or not, the ballot language would say when it takes effect, you know, in the language that when that would be. I must admit, I don't remember what the last language said, but I'm certain it had a date, because like if you had it in April, I'm not saying that's what you're going to do or not do, you would certainly say that it would take effect at the end of that person's term, his or her, whoever ran in April, that you would start it in cheap 4-year. So it would start 4 years later if you did it in April, in that regard. So I think you would do the same thing in November, but in November you would say your term expires, it would be on the ballot, the replacement would be on the ballot in April. So you would announce that if you had it on November, I think you would say when this would take effect. The voters need to know that. It's not just immediately. You know, you wouldn't terminate the person that was in that position at that time.
So it would just take effect in April.
If that's, I think that's what you would say. I mean, you could also say that it doesn't take effect until, you know, for 2 years down the road. Or you could, you know, I think it's whatever you put in the ballot language. So I think it's, you know, shall it be appointed? And then I think you would also need the effective date of when that takes place in your ballot language, so the voters are informed and know what they're voting on.
Okay.
Do we run any risk by not doing anything?
Well, if we don't do anything, then we should probably just have the mayor appoint a chief to fill out the rest of the term and then go by what the people elect. If we're going to go to the ballot and all of the aldermen are fine with waiting, then we would just put the next highest ranking officer, which is Captain DeBrett, in charge until such time as we find out what the results of either one in November or April would be. I think that's kind of that's what we've all talked about. That's the transparency thing right there, is just saying that out loud, because I think that's what we've all talked about. So, Chief, is there anything you'd like to add to this conversation?
Oh, boy. Most of you were on board when I took office, and hopefully you all remember the conversation I had that said I was not going to be here forever, and that something needed to be done. Okay? My opinion is just because a person's eligible because they live in the city limits does not mean they're qualified. That's something you need to take into consideration. And I chatted with all 4 of you, and everybody was on the same page at that time. Apparently now they're not. Now, also, today, I come in, I received an email from your predecessor that says, this whole thing about me being a consultant was her idea, not mine. And I just thought, well, okay, if that's what's going to help keep the department together, so be it. So I was willing to do it. So anything that anybody says, what she put in her little email about, well, I'm not trying to blast the chief with a bunch of crap, because that's exactly what she was trying to do. And that email was addressed to all of you. Okay? It was not my idea. It was an offer that I was making, and if that's what you wanted to do, so be it. I would have done it. Okay? So apparently when she made that comment to Lieutenant Burton and brought it to me to have that all, to look into that, that's why I offered it. Not because of some little grandeur thing that I want to still be in charge of crap. Well, I wouldn't have said I wanted to retire if I still wanted to be in charge. So there's my 2 cents worth of the whole thing. Y'all do what you want to do. The 15th, I'm out of here. Of May. Thank you.
All right, any other comments from board members, mayor? Anybody have any other comments? All right, I think I have the direction I need then. So I think that ends our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is City Attorney Kurt Wallace.
Nothing more, Mr. Mayor.
Departmental reports, Alderman or Administrator Wilkie.
Yeah, and as most of you know, Jason is taking some classes on Monday night, so I take Public Works as well. I'm sure you've noticed that we've got some equipment parked in the yard out front, so we did just start working on the roof that was approved late last year. That's being paid for with some of the ARPA money that we had left over, so we got that going on right now. We are also, as of Wednesday, we will have a bid out for Cardwell to resurface Cardwell, so that is coming down the pipelines as well. Beyond that, I don't have anything more, Mayor. Thank you.
Chief Work.
Another discussion I brought up was the fact of trying to retain officers, or again, try to recruit more officers. One of the ideas that the command staff has come up with is the take-home car policy. When we get our new cars, which would be 7 new, at least Ford Explorers, that will give us enough cars to start a take-home policy. We had talked with Myrna. They're not happy with the idea, but they're fine with it. As long as it's, there's policies in place where people aren't going to be running around grocery shopping. This day and age, these kids that are applying for jobs, they're actually interviewing us instead of us interviewing them. They want toys, they want perks, they want days off. The pay, yeah, is something they talk about, but the more thing is the perks. And we have no perks to offer them here, nothing. All I can offer them is that they're going to handle 40 to 30 calls a day and run their butts off. That's all I got to offer from you kids. Now tomorrow night we have a recruitment exercise going on at the Franklin County Academy over at the Sheriff's Office. And I would like to be able to have the recruiting officers be able to say that we can offer a take-home program. If anything, a pilot program, and the details of it will be worked out by the command staff, and everything is submitted to the board for final. But I need some type of go-ahead now that has say that we can offer something like that. We try to start off on something. We're 4 officers down, folks. The 2 that you appointed me to have last year, haven't filled them. And now with Officer John Meyer gone, and then the spot that we already had done, we're short. We lose 1 more officer, Franklin County's going to have to come back.
Chief, can I make a comment? So I already talked to Mayor Dilworth about this, and I think there's a way, Mark and I have been working on this, I think there's a way we can do it. Obviously, it's going to cost the city a little bit more money long term, but it is something that every other city is doing. And so if we're not doing it, Chief's right, we're going to lose these officers. The other thing that we're going to start doing, I'll have this on the agenda in May, is we're going to change the comp time rules. Right now, we have a 40-hour limit on comp time, which is ridiculous. So right now, most of the officers that we have on staff here now already have 40 hours of comp time, so they have no choice but to take any extra pay as overtime. Well, if we change it from 40 to 100 hours of comp, then you can have all of these officers bank more comp time. It's just as valuable to them to take a day off every once in a while as it is to get the overtime pay. And I think that'll be looked upon very favorably, just like what Chief is saying.
We're worn out.
With
Overtime's enough.
yeah, so Mark, Chief, and I have already been kind of looking at different things. These are 2 options that we feel like will help. We're also looking at some other options in our pay plan. Some of this we're going to be talking about at our strategic planning meeting that we're going to have this summer. But I support what Chief is saying here as well. So we're gonna tentatively move forward with this. Mark and I have been running the numbers. I don't think we need to keep all the Durangos. I think we can still get rid of a couple of them, but the majority of them I think we're gonna have to keep.
And one of them will go to the SRO to replace the orange car that we have, which will replace it.
Anything else, Chief?
That's what we have.
We don't make motions
Just an update that moving the Easter egg hunt to Orchard Park was hugely successful and very well received by the community this year. We had a great turnout. And then the park board meeting is actually tomorrow at 6 p.m.
So one little piggyback on that, we did get our second bid for the gazebo. So we are probably gonna be moving forward, redoing the gazebo within the next 30 to 45 days. Just so everybody knows that.
Mr. Mayor, can we go back to Chief's request? Was that a yes that he gets to promote take-home car when they go to recruitment event? I know we talked about it, but I don't know if we said that's definitive, or where are we on that?
Kurt, we don't have a motion on the agenda to do that, so I was just taking that as a discussion, and what I got from the majority of the board members was that they indicated that they were okay with moving forward with it.
So he can say it. All right.
So we can say that.
All right. So the minutes are good.
Other business, do the board members have anything?
I just wanted to make mention to somebody, make a note. Over the weekend, during all the rain, was driving down Commercial and noticed that the culvert at North Lay and Commercial must be clogged because there was standing water across North Lay backed up into the MFA parking lot and all of the ditches, the grass area. It was a nice fishing hole for a while.
I'm sorry, which corner did you say, Northley and?
And Commercial.
So I did contact MoDOT for that, the last time it rained, and they took note of it, so I can call them again tomorrow.
Okay. We probably need to be pretty pushy about that. It was so deep this weekend that I think some cars would have struggled to get up North Lay if they needed to get home. They would have had to go in the other way, so. It was, like I said, it was flowing over into the MFA parking lot, which is impacting business, so it's something that definitely needs attention.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anybody from the public? Any comments?